Just Chica in the building. Chica Emotion. Let's get to the video, guys. You know, a lot of the inspiration from my videos come mainly for my own journey that I'm going on, which is something I'm about to talk to you about today, and shit other people are dealing with. So really, like, these videos are part of my experience that I'm sharing with you, and also gathering intel from other people's experiences. So hopefully these videos can give you value. But for those of you who don't know me, I'm Chica Emotion. I'm in between names right now, trying to figure out my identity, I guess, whatever the fuck. I talk about fitness, self-improvement, mindset, motivation, psychology. All that is really geared towards men. It can apply to women too, but as I am a man, most of my experiences, everything that I learn comes from the perspective of a man, and it's for the benefit of a man. And if you're a woman watching my videos, or whoever, or whatever, if you don't believe that there is a difference between men and women and their livelihood experiences, their mind, their mindsets, and what's expected of them, you're completely wrong. You got it backwards, okay? Men and women are completely different. Not saying they're unequal, but we have different roles of what's expected of us in society. But with that being said, I just want to get into the video. When you start to change, when you start to improve yourself, when you start to cut things out of your life, change always comes with cutting something out of your life. You always get rid of something to get something. It is a law of equivalent exchange, which you like. There's this anime called Full Metal Alchemist. For all my nerds out there, there's this law of equivalent exchange. Basically, you win some, you lose some. You get some had to get lost. And change and growth as a person is ultimately the death of your old self. It is you sacrificing your old self. It is seen through, and I always use biblical analogies on my channel. Why? Because I just do. So here we go. This is not a religious channel, but this is just what I like to do. When you see Abraham, he had to sacrifice his son Isaac on the mountain. I think it was Mount Moriah or whatever. Anyway, through that, he became blessed to become father of nations. It was like, even if you go to like Jewish or Zoroastrian or any religion in the world, whether they're ancient or present, there's always some form of sacrifice that leads to a blessing. And that shows the inherent intelligence of the subconscious that's always a step ahead of us as human beings. We inherently know that through sacrifice, things are begotten, things are attained, things are achieved. And the path to growth is a process of psychological sacrifice. It's a process of psychological rebirth. It's like the analogy of like the phoenix in mythology. You have a phoenix who basically is a bird that burns itself in its own flames just to resurrect as an entity, a more powerful entity. And that's exactly what you have to do as a person. And, as I've been on my journey, there's a piece of myself that I basically had to kill. And despite it being painful, it's been very pleasurable at the same time, because I look at the stuff that I gain, and people really ain't gonna really hit that point. The reason you haven't changed is because you're very satisfied with your existence, but at the same time you're not. There's two paths that you're on. You have how can I word this? There are two yous inside of you, and they're you. This is probably not gonna make sense, but try and follow me here. There's two yous inside of you, and they're you. All of it's you, but they have conflicting goals. They have conflicting goals in mind. There's a side of you that simply seeks. It's not necessarily about pleasure. It's not necessarily about pleasure, but you have a side of you that seeks the easy way out. It seeks to make sense of the world, and it has projected beliefs into your mind based through experiences. And through those experiences, you have formed beliefs and modes of being. And those modes of being have created a bubble of comfort. And comfort necessarily doesn't mean pleasure. Because people can be stuck in a loop of doing something bad to themselves. But basically that bubble is simply familiarity. It's being familiar. It's what you're familiar with. Anyway, that bubble of familiarity is conflicting with your true goal. And that conflict becomes evident through the behaviors of self-sabotage. Okay? Through self-sabotage. And that manifests basically when you're on self-improvement and you go ahead and you start browsing porn. Or you go ahead and you call your ex. Or you boot up the game. Or you do something you know you shouldn't do. Because what subconsciously occurs in that moment is, I have an aim to improve myself. This is the aim of person A inside of me. That's also me. But person B inside of me, that's also me, has an aim to be as familiar with his environment as possible. To not go into the unknown. And what's unknown is your mental state without the coping devices that you've adopted throughout your life. That's the unknown. That's the realm of the dark. That is the abyss. Because people without drugs, people who don't do the things that they're addicted to, if you ask them to basically, visualize and verbally explain how it is that they feel through visualization, they would almost all the time somewhat make a visualization similar to the event of him falling into a dark pit or being sucked in through mud. Some form of suffocation and lack of control. That is the elements that are provided. Darkness and lack of control. And that is basically a primordial fear of man. That is a primordial fear of anybody. Being in darkness meaning I don't know what the fuck is going on, and losing control. Meaning, despite me not knowing what's going on, whatever happens going to happen, and there's nothing I can do about it. And it doesn't actually mean that that's true. It doesn't mean that that's actually true. That's just what happens when we come to unfamiliar territory. And that's what that's the call of self-improvement, to go into unfamiliar territory. That's the adventure. That's the divine masculine. The masculine seeks to go into unfamiliar territory. Why? To chill there? Fuck no. It's to conquer that territory. It's to conquer that territory. And that's exactly what you need to do. You need to conquer the unfamiliar territory within you. So let's talk about this. While you're on self-improvement, you will miss your old life. You're supposed to. I want you to process this. You will miss your old life. You will miss the things that you do. There will be times even when you've fallen and you got back up, and you're falling, you got back up, and maybe you got into a really good improvement streak and you feel really good, you will miss your old mindsets. It can manifest through you missing out on parties, you want to talk to girls, which, by the way, if you want to improve, I highly recommend cutting that shit out, because you have no idea how much money and time and energy you're wasting. But back to what I'm saying, it may come to like, want to hop on the game, doing some shit that's going to take you away from you, doing some shit that's going to take you away from being locked in with yourself and chasing and conquering your ambition. It's going to be something. You're supposed to miss it. I'm going to give another biblical analogy because for some reason that's what Chike likes to do. Lot and Lot's wife. I don't know if you know the story, but there's a city called Sodom and Gomorrah in the Bible. Lot and his wife and, his daughter and his daughters, and then, his brother's sons-in-law were, they found the city Sodom and Gomorrah because obviously it was very fertile. The economy was good, I guess, whatever. And if there's a weird cut in the next couple minutes, it's because the storage on my phone has run out. So I apologize in advance. But essentially they were living in the city, and God said, get out of there because I don't like what's going on here. And you need to leave because if you don't, you're going to die with it. That's very symbolic, by the way. Not that I'm interpreting any scripture. I'm just giving you a psychological analogy to further convey a point. Bottom line, he had to leave the city and got out of a really interesting condition under this event. He said, if you look back, you're gonna turn to salt. It's good enough if I get out the city. It's good enough if I get out the city. Why the hell do I have to turn into salt if I look back at the city? Why? Because looking back is a symbolization of longing for this life. You miss that life. You miss that life. Now, earlier I said it's okay if you miss that life. Obviously, turning to salt isn't an okay thing to do. But my analogy is this. It shows discipline that you miss your old life, because you're not disciplined if you don't do the shit you don't want to do. It shows discipline to miss your old life, to miss the shit that you used to do, to be the person you used to be that old self. And despite missing it at times, choosing not to be that person, because discipline is only evident through sacrifice. Sacrifice is only evident through pain and suffering. Love is only evident through pain and suffering. Love is only evident through pain and sacrifice. Love is discipline. Love is discipline. Loving yourself is being disciplined. It's not fucking eating bullshit trash. It's not fucking skipping the fucking gym. It's not doing shit that harms you for the long run. It's doing shit that makes you better in the long run. Love is discipline. And if you are not disciplined, you cannot love yourself. And if you cannot love yourself, you cannot love others. People who are undisciplined are selfish. They're selfish people because they can't even take care of themselves. You understand? So when you miss your old life, feel the emotion. You're supposed to feel the emotion. The Way of the Superior Man. What does that book say? I know what it says, but I'm going to go ahead and fetch it so that I could read the chapter verbatim. A Man's Way, Part 1. Part 2, Chapter 2. It says, live with an open heart, even if it hurts. I'm going to go to it just real quick. And this is probably the most important lesson I've ever learned in my entire life. Closing down in the midst of pain is the denial of a man's true nature. A superior man is free in feeling and action, even amidst great pain and hurt. If necessary, a man should live with a hurting heart rather than a closed one. He should learn to stay in the wound of pain and act with spontaneous skill and love even from that place. This is gold. When I miss something that I used to do, I feel it. I don't deny that part of myself. It's still me. But despite me knowing that that is still me and choosing not to do it, you know how fucking awesome that is? That's discipline. Waking up in the morning at 4 in the morning, knowing I gotta go hop into a cold shower and meditate, knowing I wanna stay in the bed and doing it anyways, that discipline is inspiring. And the love that you feel for yourself will grow. The city burning is a representation as a dissolving of the former self. In my own opinion, as far as psychoanalysis goes. Fleeing from that city is the exodus of the old self, and it is a departure from the old self. It is a desire to change. Looking back is it's not a symbol of you missing your old self. It is a symbol of you going back on the path towards your old self, and you will turn to salt. Salt often is an analogy for things where living things do not thrive, like the Dead Sea. The salinity of the Dead Sea is immense. Living things are not there. There are no fish in the Dead Sea. That's why it's called the Dead Sea. You cannot have a new life if you turn to salt. But that's what you want, and that's okay. I want to, if there's anything that you can take out of this video, is that it's okay to want to be your old, pathetic, bullshit self, to be the addict, to be the fapper, to be the gamer. It's okay to want to be that person. What's not okay is going back to be that person. And you may do things, but you need to change your narrative. Even though you fail, you're not that person. Because you're the person on self-improvement. You're the person who's trying to better yourself every single day. So do what you have to do. Watch my videos as much as you want. People say don't binge self-improvement. Do whatever you gotta do. You gotta find out what works for you. Don't close down in the midst of your pain, your emotions that may confuse you. Feel all of it. Feel all of it. And choose to do the right thing regardless. You have to do the right thing even if you don't want to do the right thing. You have to do the thing that's best for you even though you don't want to do it. So I guess with all that stuff being said, I conclude this video. It ran on longer than I thought it would be. But despite all that, I hope this video is of value to you. Go hard, go stupid, go crazy. I look sexy in this shirt. Peace out.